WKYS HD Washington.
What it is.
We're always trying to do our best to make the DMV even better. It's Kiss in the Community.
Good morning, DMV, and welcome to another edition of our Kiss in the Community Public Affairs show. Angie checking in, and 'tis the season. You know, the holidays are around. People are extra giving, and I've got a great organization for you to give to or be a part of. They've been servicing the community for so long. You've seen them everywhere. Martha's Table, and with us is the president and CEO of Martha's Table, Ms. Kim Ford, an old friend. Good morning, Kim.
What's up, Angie? How you doing?
I am awesome. I'm glad that you could sit down with me. It's been too long.
It has been.
But obviously you're busy because it's your first year with Martha's Table.
Yeah, it's been a really great experience. You know, I've known Martha's Table my entire life. I used to volunteer with them when I was in middle school and upper school, so it's just truly come full circle. Just really excited. So I tell folks it's been a long time since I wake up every day just so excited to go into work.
Yeah. Well, tell us where you were previously before coming to Martha's Table and why you chose to, take the reins as president and CEO.
Well, I'm a proud native Washingtonian, and I was able to, pursue my dreams when I was a kid. I said I was going to go in the auto industry and then into government politics, and that's exactly what I did. Ended up serving in President Obama's administration, and, just took a look around and said, hey, man, the city is changing. I want to do things in the community and local work. And from there, went to be the dean of the UDC Community College. Just loved every minute there. That's where we used to spend time together.
That's right.
Helping students get to and through post-secondary. Then went back nationally to the U.S. Department of Education, where I was working in career and tech ed and community colleges, correctional reentry ed, adult ed. But again, my heart kept pulling me back, D.C., D.C., D.C. And so, I'm so excited now to be at Martha's Table, back on the ground, back at home. It really feels like home.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you have so much, I guess, experience now to contribute to an organization like Martha's Table. So tell people a little bit about who Martha's Table is, because I'm sure, we've all seen, the logo and things like that. Or you might know about them, but not quite. So tell us a little bit about Martha's Table.
Yes, Martha's Table, next year is going to be our 40th anniversary. So we are a long-standing nonprofit here in the District of Columbia. And over those 40 years, we have really evolved. So, we started as what folks might have called a soup kitchen, and that has evolved into McKenna's Wagon, which is our free food truck that goes out 365 days a year, no matter weather, no matter holiday. I actually was out on it last night. We support about 200 people a day with our free food truck. We've also evolved from what folks would maybe have called a food pantry into healthy markets. We have lobby markets at 2 of our educational campuses and 53 pop-up markets, joyful markets, at every elementary school in Ward 7 and Ward 8.
Awesome.
We've evolved from a thrift shop to a boutique, our Outfitters Boutique, which is on MLK, where folks can actually shop at no cost for children's clothes and adult workforce attire. And we've evolved from daycare to nationally accredited early childhood education centers, both at our Southeast headquarters and at our Ward 1 presence. So over these 40 years, I know that folks have known maybe certain iterations of Martha's Table, but we've continued to evolve and grow rapidly, and we're just really excited about where we are in this next phase.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the next phase, especially within Ward 8. And expansion and programming. I see a Head Start education program. So let's talk a little bit about expansion.
Yeah, so I know a lot of people know us from 14th Street. And so I mentioned that I used to volunteer on 14th Street. Well, we all know that the people who used to live on 14th Street those 25 years ago are not the same people who live there now.
Yeah.
And so that was a part of the move. A lot of people say, oh, well, the need shifted. Well, that's true in part. But in addition to that, what we're really focused on is ensuring that the people who are in the community that we've moved to, that we now call home, are able to stay in their homes and thrive and prosper, because we know what happened on 14th Street is going to happen in some sort of iteration. But what we're striving to do is, again, make sure that the folks who are there today can be there 10, 20, 30 years from now. And how we do that is, of course, through our education programs, our health and wellness programs, through our community supports, and through intentional partnerships. So we're very excited about our nationally accredited accredited early childhood education center supporting young people 6 weeks to age 4.
Wow.
And yes, we are still enrolling.
Okay.
We are so excited that we just won Head Start, Early Head Start, which allowed us to basically double the number of families that we're able to support, both in our center-based programs and also in our non-center-based programs, which is being out in the community, supporting home visiting and supports to parents outside of the center. And so we're just really excited about, again, where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, we've got the CEO and president of Martha's Table, Miss Kim Ford, with us. She's in her first year, started back in April, and sounds like you're steamboating. Like we are full steam ahead, ahead, making moves. And, I love that you guys do these like kind of community dinners and markets, and I think that gives you an opportunity to really speak to the families that you're servicing and what they need. Because a lot of times we think we know. I know when I was doing college is cool, when I was doing my program, and you apply for grants and you have to write out, this is what we're going to do for the year. And I would write out, okay, in month 1 we're going to start with this, and month 2 and all the way through, right? And then I got my grant and I go to Anacostia, I'm doing my program, and I literally had to throw my whole curriculum out the door because what I felt like was needed in my approach, I had to literally like change my approach and how we were helping people, because everyone had different starting points, and so you couldn't just start at level 1 because some people weren't even ready to get to level 1. So speak to how you're able to constantly communicate with families and get what their needs are, because you're basically, instead of just providing the service to say, oh yeah, we know there's food deserts here, so we're going to provide food, but people have very specific needs. So can you speak to how these community dinners allow you all to service more people?
Absolutely. And I think that's just such a great point. Everything that we do starts with the community. We actually don't do anything until the community says, this is what we want, this is what we need. We treat everyone with dignity and respect, and the basics of dignity and respect is that I'm going to listen to you. I'm going to hear you, and then I'm going to respond, because at the end of the day, there are a lot of organizations who may have a mindset of the savior organization. Oh, we're going to come in and we're going to do this because that's what you need. That's not our approach at all. We don't think we know anything other than we know that the community knows exactly what they want, exactly what they need, and they know exactly how to get there.
Yeah.
And what they're looking for are real, authentic partners who are going to stand alongside them, bring in resources, bring in advocacy so that they can achieve their dreams. And so part of, again, listening to the community told us exactly what they wanted to see in the building. So we actually had an advance team out before we even broke ground, out in the community asking, what do you want to see? And they said, we want to see a big open space, something that's new, something that, beautiful views and glass, something that's welcoming. And I see people every week who are like, I helped you build that building. You know that, right? And I'm like, yeah, did we get it right? And they're like, yeah. And so when we hear people come to our new headquarters at 2375 Elvins Road Southeast, come visit us. When people come and they say, you walk in, people smile at you, they treat you like a human being, they treat you with dignity and respect. That's what people said they wanted, and that's exactly what we give back. So people also said that they wanted additional supports, like with the community dinners. So once a month, we have a community dinner, and it is just open to the community. There are absolutely no requirements. You come, the community tells us what they want. So 1 month it was breakfast for dinner, 1 month it was taco night. Last month it was kitchen cray. And so it's a place where people can come together and commune and meet their neighbors, in a very nice environment. And so again, everything that we do is spurred from what, listening to the community and what the community is telling us that they want.
Yeah, and I know at the Martha's Table community, they've also kind of expressed interest in financial literacy, because like you said, I mean, we're in a place where DC is rapidly changing, and so, obtaining the funds to either keep your home or purchase in DC is a big concern.
Yeah, again, at one of our recent community dinners, we actually provided real-time feedback devices and asked people, if you were to tell us what you would like to see Martha's Table doing in this next phase. And we asked a number of different questions and had a whole host of different options that the community members could choose from. And financial literacy and workforce development kept coming up as 1 and 2. They were one would be workforce, 2 would be financial literacy. 1 would be financial literacy, 2 would be workforce development. And so again, in response to that, we've been reaching out to partners to bring in those services around, building credit, establishing credit, restoring credit, the ability to buy a home, the ability to keep your home, and to go to school. I know we've spent a lot of time together in the post-secondary college space. How do we go to school? How do we more importantly finish school? Because the goal was not to get there; it's to again achieve your dream, and this is a piece of it. And so, in 2020, we're going to be doing a lot more in that space and a lot more, again, responding to the community and the needs that they're signaling.
Got it. Again, President and CEO of Martha's Table, Kim Ford, is with us today on our Public Affairs Show. Let me ask you this, Kim, as far as families and who you service or demographics of who you service, maybe someone's listening and they might know a family. How does one establish that, okay, Martha's Table is where I need to go for X, Y, and Z? Who are you specifically servicing or open to?
Yeah, so it's a lot of different ways that you can touch Martha's Table, right? So we talked about McKenna's Wagon, and that wagon actually goes out to 2 stops, one in Northeast and one in Northwest every single day.
Okay.
When we talk about our Outfitters Boutique, that is open to any caregiver of a child, and the District of Columbia defines a child as 21 and under. So if you are a caregiver of a child who's 21 and under, and that does not mean you have to be the primary caregiver, but a caregiver of a child who's 21 and under, you can go to the Outfitters Boutique on MLK, and again, get children's clothes and adult workforce attire, and you actually get a credit card. Looks like a Macy's card. There's an apple where the chip would be. We load $40 worth of credit every month. And people use that to shop, and that's subtly also teaching financial literacy and budgeting skills. And it's a very nice boutique experience. In the joyful markets that are in the 53 different public and public charter schools in Ward 7 and Ward 8. We're touching 6,000 families every month through those programs. But of course, that doesn't mean that every single family in that school is going. So if you're already touching us there, and then if you are looking for, our nationally accredited early childhood education centers, we have one in Ward 1 at the Maycroft, which is at 15th and Columbia Road, and then our headquarters in Southeast 2375 Elvins Road. And so families in Northwest, they're open across the city. In our headquarters in Southeast, we're really focused on our place, which represents about 20,000 people, 400 babies born every year. It's the Fort Stanton Hillsdale neighborhood. And so, we just ask for folks to reach out. Again, we have the center-based programming and non-center-based programming, but really focused on that surrounding community. Again, ensure that those families are able to obtain the same educational, economic, and health outcomes as their peers across the city.
Got you. And as we're headed into the holiday season, Thanksgiving is coming up, big special time. I want to get your personal opinion on this, because I feel like we're in an era now of everybody wants to show off their good deeds, and you spoke a lot to integrity. And a lot of times when it comes to either homelessness or our underserved communities, our low-income areas, there is a sense of, sometimes you can feel a sense of shame that you don't have certain things. What would you say? What advice would you give, especially our young people and our people that are using social media? I know it feels good, I'm feeding the homeless, or I gave my shoes to so-and-so. What are your personal thoughts on social media when it comes to serving people and how we go people to so-and-so? What are your personal thoughts on social media when it comes to serving people and how we go about that?
Again, we do everything with dignity and respect, and we always attempt to do things in a very dignified manner. So I mentioned yesterday I went out on McKenna's Wagon. I didn't take pictures of the folks we supported. I took a picture of the group of us who volunteered and went out on the wagon.
Got it.
Because to me, yes, that signals that, we did this and we supported close to 200 people, but don't want to show them per se, because that, could be a violation, could make them feel shamed.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times, even when we're proud in the work that we're doing, we just have to make sure it's in a dignified way, and just ask the folks, is it okay, for us to take a picture? And sometimes people will come up and say, we really appreciate what Martha's Table is doing. Can I take a picture? can you put that on?
Yeah,
Or they want to give a testimonial. And in those instances, we certainly will do that. And there are people who take great pride in that. But we also don't want to be kind of intrusive and put folks on display who don't necessarily want to be on display.
Right. Yeah. So I think that's a great point. Is like you said. I mean, sometimes you can say, "Hey, I'm out here. I'm doing this," without necessarily, zooming in on someone and trying to get them to talk. And like you said, asking for that permission and consent.
Right.
To make sure it's cool.
We see over 100 people at both of our lobby markets, the one in our headquarters in Southeast and the one in Maycroft and Northwest. Over 100 people a day. 100 people are patroning those markets, and we hear the greatest stories. And, again, sometimes they're fine with us and say, we would like, I'm happy for you to use that as a testimonial. But again, we don't try to, do like, live and, here's
right.
everybody. Well, or again, we ask the group, they say, is it okay for us to take a picture? The other day we had a totally packed lobby, and folks, we took some pictures. Hey, it's a packed lobby. They're like, hey, we're at Martha's table.
Right, right.
So again, I just think it's just how you approach it.
So what do you guys have coming up for Thanksgiving and the Thanksgiving season?
So really excited. On Saturday, yesterday, we had a really big harvest dinner at Our Lady of Perpetual Help, which is a great partner of ours. At the Panorama Room, we supported over 2,000 people with our Thanksgiving dinner down at the Commons, which is our headquarters in Southeast, which is just right below the Panorama Room. We partnered with Kicks for the City and gave out hundreds and hundreds of pairs of shoes. So that was really exciting. Of course, our lobby markets again are open every day, Monday through Friday, and people can shop once a month and get about 40 pounds worth of healthy fruits and healthy vegetables and shelf life items. So we've seen a lot of people come for that. On Friday, we just hosted our monthly community market, which is a much bigger version of the lobby market, where we actually retract up all of our, we have these huge glass garage doors, and we retract everything up, and we put out a massive spread. And we see about 250 families when we do that. And then again, all of this will happen again in December. So we have our December market that will be, again, a very big production. We have our December dinner. And so, we welcome everyone. And, again, back to the dignity and respect, there are no requirements. You just come, and when you shop in the market, you don't need a referral or a voucher. You just show your ID and we give you a number. It's not about being in need. It's not about having to prove or show anything. It's about providing access to healthy vegetables, healthy eating options, and nothing more.
Wow. I mean, that's awesome, because that does happen a lot of times when it comes to certain programs. They're looking for all this paperwork and all this stuff you got to prove in order to get resources. So.
Right, and that's just not us.
Yeah,
that's not how we operate, and because it's not how people should operate. But if you needed to know that, you certainly know that from the community. And again, they tell you that. Like, I don't want to have to fill out 18 different forms or jump through hoops or have to put skin in the game. And that, so why would we? Yeah, why would we? And again, that's a part of this evolution in everything that we do. Is, again, everything changes. I think that we understand that industries change and evolve. We understand that education changes and evolves. We have to understand that, services and supports change and evolve. And so kind of this old way of thinking about things and doing things, that's got to change and evolve as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Kim, I appreciate you for sitting down with us and taking the time to tell us about all the great things Martha's Table is doing. Congratulations again on your position as president and CEO of Martha's Table. For anybody who wants to keep up with you guys or get in touch with you, or even like volunteers, are you all looking for more partners and support? How do we go about that?
Absolutely. So, of course, www.marthastable.org. We would love to have your support. We have over 18,000 volunteer opportunities a year, and we need every single one of them. They range, again, from the markets to our Outfitters Boutique, to McKenna's Wagon, to being in the classroom. So a number of different options. Of course, we are always looking for donations for our Outfitters Boutique. Again, children's clothes and adult workforce attire. So we would love to see that, especially as we have the seasons changing. And then, of course, if folks want to support us financially, every dollar that comes in, to the extent that, folks wanted to go right back out into the community, absolutely will. And so we're very proud of the work that we do. We're very proud. We're proud and we're humbled to be where we are and to be in this phase. And we're very excited because we truly, truly believe that the community that we're in now, when we look at it 10, 20, 30 years from now, it will be the same people and they will be thriving and prospering with what will happen and not displaced.
Yeah. Providing access is definitely key to resources. So we appreciate Martha's Table. We've been able to do multiple events with you guys and volunteer work. And so it's always, from WKYS 93.9, Angie, Radio 1, Urban 1, all these different brands that we are. It's always good to have you all as a partner.
I love that. Everything one. We always say
Everything
one MT.
One. Yeah.
One MT.
Yeah.
Strong children, strong families, strong communities. Martha's Table for the win.
There it is. That's what it's all about. Kim Ford, thank you so much. This concludes our Kiss in the Community Public Affairs show. Man, y'all make sure you hit up marthastable.org for all the information. Learn more about it. Volunteer, donate, or if you need resources, feel free to reach out. They're always available, open arms. The boutique is nice. I've watched some of the clothes that people get to get out of there, and it's really good. I know when we volunteered, we were over at 14th Street. My family's off of 16th and V. That's where my dad's side is grew up on, so very familiar with 14th Street. But I know when we were over at the 14th Street location, just seeing the pride and the smiles on people's faces to be able to get some clothes for themselves or their family, it meant a lot, especially because I think we were headed into winter maybe, so it's like people needed socks. I noticed everybody was trying to get some socks and underwear. So that was like a big deal, and it just made me very appreciative for people like yourself and for organizations like Martha's Table that understand at a very basic level, like, we need to make sure that no one is in need or goes for want, like, if we can all pitch in and help. So
absolutely, we have more resources in DC than anywhere else. If we can't do it here, we can't do it anywhere.
Absolutely. So Kim, thank you so much for sharing those resources and services. Looking forward to seeing what else comes forth from Martha's Table. Kim Ford, President CEO. Angie, I'm gone. I catch you Monday morning 6 a.m. right here on 93.9 WKYS. Have a great Sunday.
We're always trying to do our best to make the DMV even better. It's Kiss in the Community.